At some point, most of us were told a simple story. Work hard, save consistently, and retire comfortably. It sounded reasonable, responsible even. But here's a quiet question most people avoid asking. What if the math no longer works? Not because you failed, not because you didn't plan well, but because the price of the American dream itself has changed. Today, retirement feels fragile, home ownership feels delayed, stability feels conditional. And yet, the system keeps telling you that everything is fine. Markets are up, pensions are managed, inflation is temporary. But confidence doesn't come from reassurances. It comes from understanding. Because the American dream wasn't destroyed. It was financially repriced. For decades, this dream was more than just hope. It was engineered. One income, one home, one pension, one retirement. You didn't need to be wealthy. You just needed to participate. Your savings earned interest. Wages rose with productivity. Housing costs followed your income. Retirement was handled for you. Pensions promised certainty, and Social Security filled the gaps. Inflation stayed quiet. The system wasn't perfect, but it was stable. And stability creates trust. That trust became our cultural memory, passed down, reinforced, and relied upon. It was the belief that time alone would protect you. But systems that feel permanent are often just young. This version of the American dream had a start date. It began after World War II. The US emerged dominant, with its factories intact and competitors weakened. Demand was exploding. Wages rose because productivity soared. One income worked because labor was scarce. The government locked it all in with subsidized housing, strong unions, and controlled finance. Money itself was constrained. The dollar was tied to gold. Debt grew slowly, and inflation behaved. It was a rare alignment of growth, demographics, policy, and dominance. But these conditions were temporary. Globalization expanded the labor pool. Technology weakened workers' bargaining power. Finance replaced production as the engine of the economy. And debt replaced real growth. Then the anchor was removed. In 1971, the US dollar was detached from gold. Money became elastic. Debt became strategic. Growth was pulled from the future. At first it felt like freedom, but that flexibility had consequences. Inflation stopped being rare. Assets began rising much faster than wages. Housing became a financial instrument, and pensions. They disappeared quietly, replaced with responsibility. Your responsibility. 401k plans, market exposure, longevity risk, guarantees became probabilities, and probabilities always favor institutions. Wages flattened, but costs didn't. Healthcare, education, housing, the same life now carries a much higher price. This is the repricing. It's not a collapse or a conspiracy. It's a structural shift where the rules stayed the same, but the outcomes changed completely. The system still looks stable until you ask one critical question: who absorbs the risk now? The answer is you. Retirement is no longer a destination. It's a probability curve. Your savings must beat inflation. Your investments must survive volatility. Your lifespan must match your financial assumptions. That's a lot of musts, especially in fragile markets with historic levels of debt. Now, this doesn't mean you should panic. It means you need awareness. The real danger isn't instability. It's false confidence. It's trusting the system to behave like it did for your parents. It's assuming that time will somehow fix the math. The American dream didn't disappear. It just stopped being automatic. Once you see that, you stop outsourcing your future to old narratives. Every generation inherits a money story, and ours inherited one written for a different economy. The future isn't bleak, it's just different. Stability now comes from understanding these systems, not trusting them blindly. It comes from asking better questions, recognizing the incentives at play, and staying mentally agile. The American dream was repriced, not to exclude you, but to test your awareness. Those who adapt first aren't the loudest or the richest. They're the ones who understand how the game really works. If this brought you some clarity, subscribe to Cashfree World. Not for predictions, not for promises, but just for calm, honest explanations of the financial world you already live in. Because clarity is the real advantage. And once you have it, you don't give it back.